We'll start with the prayers. Om Bhadram Karnebhih Shruniyama Devaः Bhadram Pashyemakshabhiryajatraः Sthirairangaiः Sushtuvaagum Sashtanubhiः Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuः Swasti na Indro Vrittashravah Swasti na Pusha Vishvavedaः Swasti nastakshorarishthanemiः Swasti no Brihaspatirdadatu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We are in the second chapter of Mandukya Upanishad, and we are starting the 34th Karika today. The second chapter is titled Vaitatya Prakaranam. Vaitatya means the world which we experience is vitatam. Vitatam means it has got no independent existence. It is dependently existing on some other higher nature. That higher nature is called as turiya. Like dream does not exist by itself. It exists because of the waker. The waker exists because of turiya. From turiyam point of view, we can say that the waking world is mithya. From the waker's point of view, we can say the dream world is mithya. So when this chapter talks about mithyatvam of Jagat, you should be very careful to understand it is talking only with reference to Turiya Atma. While in the dream, if you are dreaming, you cannot say it is false. In the waking, while you are in the waking state, you cannot say it is false. Only when you have risen to the level of Turiyam, through the seventh mantra, you can say that the world which we experience as a waker is experienced no doubt, but factually it doesn't exist. This is a very, very bold statement by the Veda. Science does not accept it. The other schools do not accept it. They talk of duality. World is also there, God is also there. This is duality. But knowing the duality, you can never get moksha. Advaitam is the only way a person can cross over samsara. With this short background, let's go to the 34th Karika, which we started last week. Now, this Karika is dealing with the Advaita principle. And it compares Advaitam with Dvaitam. Why is Advaitam auspicious? Shantam Shivam Advaitam. Shivam means it is auspicious. It is unique. Always remember, we are talking about Advaita Atma. We are not talking of the Veka. We are talking of the Turiya Atma. Here is Shankaracharya in the 34th Karika, the Bhashyam. He says that you can see differences in the objects. And when you see the differences in the world, you will have sorrow. Why? Because anything which is in duality is finite. Anything which is finite is perishable in time. Advaitam is Shivaha. Dvaitam is Ashyavama. One is auspicious, another is inauspicious. You should know why we are talking about the inauspiciousness of the Anatma Jagat. We are talking of the we are talking of the inauspiciousness because Dvaitam is unreal. It gives us anxiety, it gives us fear, it gives us sorrow, it gives us insecurity for everybody. It is not one person or the second person. Throughout the world, all human beings face anxiety. What is going to happen tomorrow? What will happen to my family? And this anxiety and the fear brings sorrow in life, insecurity. Always you are wondering what is going to happen next? What's going to happen next? In our family life, in our social life, in our country life, in our international life, all throughout. But suppose you have risen to Turiya Atma, it is the only place where you can get security because it is a timeless principle. And the entire world dissolves in Turiya Atma. The non-dual Atma is the lender of existence to the duality which we experience in the world. World is anitya vastu. Atma or Turiyam is nitya vastu. We cannot sit in a cardboard chair. You will fall. So similarly, emotionally, we cannot depend on the world for our peace, security, and happiness. Duality has got three types of bheda, differences. Sajatiya, Vijatiya, Swagata, Bheda. There are differences in objects, there are differences within an object. That is the nature of Anat. Therefore, the Upanishad says that experienced world is experienced no doubt because of the prarabdha, the karma of the body and the mind. So the waking state, we think it is real, but the revelation of Mandukya Upanishad and all Upanishads, whether it is Krishna Upanishad, whether it is Mundaka Upanishad, Kaivalya Upanishad, Vardhanika Upanishad, all of them, they say Drishyam is Anityam. The seer of Drishyam, Drik, is Satyam. Emotionally, don't invest reliability on the world. Satyatva buddhi. All this is important only when you're walking on the spiritual. Suppose you're not on the spiritual path, you're not interested in Vedanta, then all this doesn't make any difference to you. But if you have decided, I want to know what the Veda is talking about myself. That is why all the sadhakas, they come to this Vedanta. So Shankaracharya and Gaudapadacharya, they say it is our vasanas, the impressions which are there in the Karana Shariram, they decide what I will experience tomorrow. And that is it is due to these vasanas and the Maya Shakti which make us believe that the world which we experience is real. In short, Dvaitam is Dukkham, Advaitam is Sukham. That is what he wants to say. This is the introduction to Karika number 34. Now we will chant what is this Karika number 34.
नात्मभावेन नानेदम् नात्मभावेन नानेदम् न स्वेनापि कथञ्चन न स्वेनापि कथञ्चन नापृथङ् नापृथक् किञ्चित् नापृथङ् नापृथक् किञ्चित् इति तत्त्वविदो विदुः इति तत्त्वविदो विदुः.
Here, Gaudapadacharya and Shankaracharya, they will be commenting on this 34th Karika. What they are saying is, suppose you stand down Turiya Atma and you look at the world. When you look at the world as pure consciousness, neither can you say that the world is separate from me, neither can you say the world is in me. That is why we say it is beyond Karanam and Karya. In Turiyam, there is no world. In the waker, there is no dream world. Can we say that the dream world is independent of the waker? We cannot say. Can we say that the dream world is in the waker, belongs to the waker? That also we cannot say. This is what is called as mithya. That is what he wants to bring out in this Karika. See, in all these Karikas, if your mind is able to understand these verses one by one, surely you will understand what is this Atma. And when you understand Atma, then you look at the world, there will be a difference in your vision. So all these 6 verses from 34 to 38, Gaudapadacharya is talking about the vision of a jnani. Differences are experienceable, like you experience a dream. What exists is aham satya. And that aham is what? Satchidananda Atma or Turiya Atma. There are 6 pramanams which we can use for anatma prapancha, which is Dvaita. Pratyaksha, Anumana, Upamana, Arthapatti, Anupalabdhi, Laukika Shabda. But for Advaita or Turiyam, there is only one Shastra, which is Vedanta Shastra. For example, to know the nature of light, you can bring a pramanam, an instrument of knowledge which is called as light. For the world to prove that it is really mithya, not really existent, the mantra number 7 is the only praman. You can't establish what this Karika is saying is there exists a Dvaita Anatma world. You can't say it is existent and it is identical to Atma. Number 1. It is not the same as Atma. Second, what do we say? Dvaitam cannot be away from Dvaitam. Because Dvaitam is dependent. See, try to get used to the 2 words, Dvaitam, Advaitam. Dvaitam, Advaitam. Dvaitam in the waking state, Advaitam in the sleep state. Beyond the sleep state is only Advaitam, which is Turiya Atma, in which there is no differences, no bheda, there is nothing. Except Atma alone exists. In your mind, if you want to know what is the nature of that Atma, in your mind, try to bring a notion. What if I wake up in the sleep state and I ask the question, who am I? You will say, I am all alone. I am pure Satchidananda principle, which is declared in the Vedanta. Only from that angle. Suppose you are woken up. This waking up is called as spiritually waking up, where you get rid of your mula avidya and you wake up to your higher knowledge. Suppose you say Dvaitam can exist independently, then what happens? The moment Dvaitam goes away from Advaitam, it becomes non-existent. Anatma does not exist away from Atma. At the same time, it is not identical with. Anatma can be experienced. It can be experienced. You can hear a sound. Not just because you know Atma doesn't mean you will not hear sound. It does not mean you will not see form and color. So that is what Gaudapada wants to bring this. Anatma is not identical to Atma. Anatma is not different from. What about two Anatmas? Suppose you take Akasha and Vayu, Vayu and Agni, space and air and fire. Now, do these two Anatmas, are they identical to each other? No. In the whole universe, there is nothing where two things are exactly the same. Our two fingers are not the same. The two twins are not the same. Anything you take in the universe, every leaf is different. Nothing in the universe is the same. There is always plurality in the world. But all the items, they have one thing in common. A leaf, a table, a chair, all of them have something in common. What is that? They are all dependent for their existence on some principle which our eyes cannot see. And that principle is called as Turiya. From Turiya angle, all the other items in the world are anatmas. Differences can't be proved to exist by any Praman. This is what is the bottom line of this verse. Differences are existing, sajatiya, vijatiya, swagata beda. Appearances to sense organs is not questioned. What we are saying is that the existence is questioned. Independent existence of the world is a big question in Vedanta. There is no pramanam to prove rope snake, no pramanam to prove shell silver, a magic show. No pramanam can prove. Your pratyaksha cannot prove. It exists, but it exists in what form? As an appearance only. So Brahma Jnana Valli Mala, the 20th verse of that, gives the truth of this entire universe. Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya Jivo Brahmaiva Na Paraha. This is the verse which I always quote. Here is the source of that verse. It is Brahma Jnana Valli written by Shankaracharya, where he brings out this truth, and this is repeated in all the Upanishads. Vedanta says there is only one Satya Vastu in the universe which is called as Brahman. You can call by any name. but the Vastu is only one. That Nitya Vastu is what all the Upanishads are trying to reveal to us. The world is Mithya, it is a secondary revelation. But the primary revelation is Aha Satya. That Aham is Chaitanya Swarup. In the next Karika, in the next commentary, what Shankaracharya says about this Dvaitam is he's trying to explain that Karika which has been written by Gaudapadacharya. In Atma is Advaitam and it is Paramarthika Satyam, Vyavaharika Satyam. Vyavaharically, Dvaitam exists. It exists. As long as you are experiencing the Dvaitam, you are going through the motion of samsara. But the moment you have become a jnani, that is why here the Gaudapadacharya uses the word Manishina, all the wise people. They say that Dvaitam does not exist separate from Atma. At the same time, it is not the same as Atma. Let us take the rope and snake. Rope is Jadam. Snake is Chetanam. Rope is Vyavaharika. Snake is Pratibhasika. Compared to the Vyavaharika rope, we say Pratibhasika, which is a projection of the mind, is unreal. Compared to Anatma, which is Jadam, which is Savikaram. Savikaram means which has got modifications. Sagunam, which means it has got attributes. Anatma is Jada. Tamaha means darkness. A desk does not know itself. You need a sentient human being to know the desk. That sentiency is what is called as Prakasha Atma. That Atma, the light, the spiritual light which is there in the body, makes me see this desk, makes me see the world, makes me experience the world. The rope snake has no independent existence. Neither can we say it is identical with the rope. Okay, so I'm sure you've got the gist of this mantra. Akasha does not have its own existence. Taittiriya Upanishad says, from Atma, Akasha is born. From Akasha, Vayu is born. So I, the Atma, Brahman, Sturiyam, alone am Satyam, and that is in 3 periods of time. That is why Atma is called as eternal. At the time of ignorance also, Atma alone is. At the time of revelation from the Upanishads, when the ignorance goes away, also Atma alone is. The easiness of Turiya Atma is transferred to the world and to the body mind. This Turiyam is anirvachaniyam. You cannot explain that because words cannot explain that Turiya Atma. During Ajnana Kale, Jnana Kale, Satta in the Sarpa, Satta in the Jiva Jagat Ishvara is a borrowed existence. Whether in the Jnana Kale as well as Ajnana Kale, you should know that Atma alone provides the existence. In the Vyavahara, Shankaracharya says differences are seen and they are accepted in Vedanta. The sense organs, Chakshuhu, will always see form and color. Ears will always hear the sound. So sense organs are designed to experience the sense objects. That is the nature of the world. Eyes cannot hear the sound. Ears cannot see the form. So the skin cannot talk about the difference between smell and touch. See how deep Shankaracharya is going. Eyes cannot know the difference between form and sound. Eyes cannot know that. There is a sentient principle behind all the five sense organs, which is the knowing factor. That knowing factor is Atma. This is the next portion. This particular slide is a revision portion where in Vivek Chodamani, the definition of Maya is given in 109th verse of Vivek Chodamani. Very, very important verse in the whole Vivek Chodamani verse. This one verse, if you can remember, 109. Why is it so important? It gives me a description of this universe. The universe cannot be said to be existent, cannot be said to be non-existent, and that is why we call it Mithya or Maya. We can't say the world is existent, we can't say the world is non-existent, we cannot say it is existent come non-existent. We can't say it is identical to Brahman, the sentient principle. World is Jadam. Jadam, how can it be identical to sentiency? We can't say it is different from sentient because there is no world at all without the sentient factor. Try to understand the logic behind all this. Shankaracharya's logic is phenomenal. When you try to go through this Mandukya Upanishad, one thing for sure is you will all pick up how to think logically. The plurality which we experience is not identical with the sentient Atma or Brahman. That is the point which again and again Shankaracharya repeats, because that's what Gaudapadacharya is trying to reveal. The duality is not available in Atma. That is why in our sleep state we experience Advaitam, no duality. Try to understand Dvaitam and Advaitam in your own mind. Try to understand. If you try to understand who you are in the sleep state, immediately you will understand what is Advaita. Because we know what is Dvaita. I am a Jiva, I am the body-mind complex. Everybody knows this. And I am experiencing the world. Dvaitam everybody knows automatically. But Advaitam is taught by a guru. It is taught with the help of Shastra, which is the only pramana. Our intellect is always overwhelmed by this Maya Shakti of Dvaita. Whenever we experience the world, remember it is Maya Shakti which is in play. Maya Shakti operates through our mind. Our mind wakes up because of Maya Shakti. Okay? So what we are trying to say is between two anatmas, we can't say they are identical, they are and we can't say dependent on the other. Similarly, Atma and Anatma, Anatma we can never say it is identical to Atma. That is the point which is being mentioned in this verse. Then Shankaracharya, as usual, he quotes Kathopanishad, Upanishad about saying that the world which we experience is mithya. Which are the verses? Again and again, he repeats this almost 3-4 times in this whole second chapter. Kathopanishad verse, Neha Asti Kinchana. Kaivalya Upanishad, the 23rd and 24th verse, Bhumi Rapo no Chavandi Rasti. Taittiriya Upanishad, Yato Vacho Nivartante. We have seen these verses many, many times in this second chapter. Always remember these three verses when we want to find out where is the pramanam for nisheda for the world. Suppose you want to say the world is not there. Which is the pramanam? These three are the pramanams. Kathopanishad, Kaivalya Upanishad, Taittiriya Upanishad. See, our mind understands logic, which is Shruti logic. When I say Veda is the pramanam for Brahma Satyam and Jagat Mithya, Jagat Mithyatvam is these three verses. Brahma Satyam is Taittiriya Upanishad, Om Brahma Vida Apnoti Param. So in your personal notes, you should keep some mantras which are proving that Brahman exists. You should keep 4 or 5 mantras which says world is mithya. Okay, so there is no pramanam to prove the Atma Anatma Bheda, no pramanam to prove Anatma Anatma Bheda. There is no second entity other than Brahman. See, a lot of people, they are not able to understand what is this Turiya Atma, what is this Brahman, because they have not gone through the Karikas. The Karikas make the revelation of Brahman very easy. Brahmanaha janati means what? This Brahman is not known through a guna or through karma. Who knows this Brahman? A person who knows this Brahman is called as Brahmanaha. That is another definition of Brahmana. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Shankaracharya quotes, and here the definition of who is a Brahmana is given. For those people who are interested, they can go through this portion. A Brahmana is a person who knows Brahman. Shiva is Advaitam, Shiva is Bhayam, Dukkham, Hetu, Dvaitam. So Dvaitam, one important fact you should always remember when you are studying the second chapter of Mandukya is Dvaitam is Bhayakaranam. It is the cause of fear. It is a cause of insecurity. Advaitam is opposite. It is a cause of fearlessness. And what is the proof? Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, this particular mantra is the proof. See, Shankaracharya, for whatever he says, he will always give a backing of Shruti. Why does a jnani become fearless? Because it is mentioned in Brahman Upanishad, this particular mantra of the first chapter, that a jnani knows that ultimately there is I alone am real, I alone am Satyam. There is no other second thing. Knowing this, having this knowledge makes him fearless. See, the beauty of being undergoing this spiritual journey is unknowingly I will get these attributes of fearlessness, sorrowlessness. These are all silently transformation takes place when you go through Veda. Silently. Why do we say silently? Because these are all wrong notions in my mind, which once the notions get resolved, automatically the truth starts appearing very, very real to me. Advaitam is Mangalam. Dvaitam is Amangalam. So this 34th verse we have seen, it is talking about Atma always exists. Anatma is an appearance and there it cannot exist separate from. That is the essence of this verse. Okay, now comes the next verse, the 35th verse. Let's chant this.
वीतरागभयक्रोधैः वीतरागभयक्रोधैः मुनिभिर्वेदपारगैः मुनिभिर्वेदपारगैः निर्विकल्पो ह्ययं दृष्टः निर्विकल्पो ह्ययं दृष्टः प्रपञ्चोपशमोऽद्वयः प्रपञ्चोपशमोऽद्वयः.
From verse number 35 to 38, there are 4 verses. 35, 36, 37, 30. These 4 verses have got 2 topics. The first topic is the glory of Advaita Jnana. That is one topic. The second topic is what are the sadhanas to get this Jnana? So 2 topics are there. In this particular 35th verse, we are talking about the glory of Atma Jnana. And what does Gaudapadacharya say? He says, a jnani is one who has no attachment, no fear, and no anger. Why? Because he knows the self is without fear, without anger, and without any. When we go through the Karikas, and when we go through the Shankara Bhashyam, you will understand this very, very clearly. Atma is free from imaginations. It is free from illusions. Why? That is its nature. Atma is free from that. But our mind is not free from illusions and imaginations. We should stand, again and again I'm saying, we should stand on Atma first and then understand these verses. So the teaching part of the second chapter is over in the 34th Karika. Karika of 35 to 38 So, got two topics: glory of Advaita Jnana, sadhanas to gain this Jnana. Tadetat samyak darshanam. If you have the right knowledge, you can see the grand design of the universe. Grand design. You will understand the universe very, very clearly. Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschidati siddhaye yatatamaphi siddhanam kaschinmambeti tatvataha. Seventh chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Very important chapter. Seventh, ninth. There are two important chapters in the second khanda. So, in the seventh chapter, what Lord Krishna says, he says, by chance, some people they come to listen to this Veda. By chance. And those who come, very, very few people they are able to understand. Like in Kathopanishad mantra, where Yamadharmaraja is telling Nachiketa, very few people are able to hear. Even if somebody hears it, they are not able to comprehend, understand what is this art. Ashcharyavat. It is a wonder that you have a teacher who can explain this Advaita Vedanta. And it is a greater wonder that the student is able to understand this Advaita. See how all this only tries to show the glory of this knowledge, which is so divine. Why is it divine? Because there is no sorrow in it. It is beyond all punyam and papa. To get this knowledge, Swami Chinmayananda used to say that, during his time, even his guru was telling him, don't try to go and teach this Advaita Vedanta to the common man. He said, don't worry. Even if I go and teach it to the people, it will remain as a secret. After sharing the knowledge also, it will remain as a secret because it is so subtle. The knowledge is so subtle and you need a focused mind, which has got viveka, vairakyam, sadhana chatushtaya sampatti, mumukshutva. All these are qualifications to make me an adhikari, to receive this knowledge. So, Vita, Raga, Bhaya, Krodha. This is very often used in Bhagavad Gita also. Raga means attachment. Attachment to what? Whatever I possess, I am attached to it. Desire is for something which you don't possess. Attachment is called raga. Bhaya. Bhaya means fear. Everybody knows. Krodha, anger. Now, these are all the advantages of knowing this Turiya Atma. But to know this Turiya Atma, you should have qualities. 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 8th verse, 9th verse, 10th verse, these are all talking about the qualities of a seeker. Amanitvam, adambitvam, ahimsa, shanti, arjavam, acharyopasanam, shaucham, sthairyamatvam, nigraha. These are all different qualities which are mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. A Munihi is the one who can contemplate on this truth. What is the meaning of contemplation? What we are trying to do in this Karikas. Shankaracharya enables our mind to dwell on Atma repeatedly. He gives us Atma and Atma, Atma and Atma. He is showing us a picture. See, this is an Atma. This is Anatma. This is the way you see Atma. This is the way you see Anatma. Every verse of this Gaudapada Acharya is a revelation of the higher truth. And this is not to be realized later in Vaikuntha and Shivaloka, Brahmaloka. No, it is to be realized here and now. If you are ready, your mind is ready, you will get this knowledge whether you like it or not. Shankaracharya talks again a very big paragraph. For those who are interested, you can study these paragraphs of Shankaracharya. You'll get a little bit more deeper understanding of these analysis which we are doing. The 16th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, now we are talking, you see, I told you from 35 to 38, we are talking of the glory of the Atma and also the sadhanas which are required. Here we are talking about a glory of a jnani who is free from attachment. That is the glory of Atma Jnana. All the limitations in a man goes away because the mind is the one which has got the limitation. The moment the mind starts seeing that Atma, slowly the power of mind to project all the wrong notions goes away. It is this mind which always gives me a problem. And mind is what? Maya. Jnani is ever free from doshas because he has dropped his mind permanently and he is standing on the Turiya. And the Guru gives a method of logically thinking to arrive at that final conclusion, which is the reality. This Atma is ever free from differences. How do we say that? Sajatiya Bheda. Let us look at this one type of difference. In Atma, there is only Advaita. Which means what? There is no Sajatiya Veda, means there are no two consciousness. Try to understand this because this is a very, very high level of thinking about how to reach that Atma and what is the nature of that Atma. What is the glory of that Atma? If you understand these portions well, you will be able to refine your mind to dwell on that pure state of consciousness. Consciousness is one, ekam. There are no two consciousness. Consciousness in your body, consciousness in my body, in the whole human beings. All the consciousness which is there in all the bodies ultimately is ekam. There is no second consciousness. Therefore, there is no jati. Same type of consciousness is not dual. It is singular. Therefore, no sajatiya bheda. See, these are the things which you can bring into your mind in meditation. It will help you to go very deep into your mind. See, our mind is gross, generally gross. It wants to see the world attached to the world. How to turn the attention of the mind from a gross universe to the subtle Atma, which is called as Pratyagatma. You say in your mind, Aham Bheda Rahitaha. Right? The consciousness and without any second thing. Bheda. In me, the consciousness, there is absolutely nothing. If I'm seeing Bheda, it is through the sense organs or through the mind. So ultimately, what are you saying? I don't have Sajatiya Bheda, I don't have Vijatiya Bheda, I don't have Swagata Bheda. Let us now look at the second Bheda, which is Vijatiya Bheda. In consciousness, there is not an iota of matter. Exactly like in our sleep state. There is nothing of the world. Panchabhutas are absent in consciousness. Matter manifests, unmanifests. But consciousness is eternal. So there is no Vijatiya Bheda, there is no spirit and matter. Spirit alone exists. That is the ultimate truth. Brahma Satyam. Third Bheda. This is a very beautiful analysis of Shankaracharya. Please try to get it. Therefore, we call it Nirvikalpaha. There is no Vikalpa in Atma. It will not, Vikalpa is only there in the mind, which is Maya. I am Sakshi. I am not the Maya principle which has got Vikalpas in the mind. Swagata Veda. Consciousness is partless. It is one homogeneous principle. Therefore, there is no Swagata Veda. Swagata Veda means in a tree a tree has got Swagata Veda. Tree has got a trunk, it has got a branch has got leaves, the tree has got a root. All these are all different parts of the tree. But consciousness, Atma, is one without any part. So this aspect of the analysis is very, very useful for our meditation. Because many a times we say, I am seeing only blankness. This nature of the truth. It is without a second. No Swagata Veda, no Sajatiya Veda, no Vijatiya Veda. World, body, mind, from the Turium's point of view, is as good as not there. It is as good as the dream which I have seen. Suppose you are able to just remember that I am that Atma, then what will you say? World of waking state, it came and went. It is not me. It is exactly a lower order of reality. Only when I inquire about why in the world I am able to reach this Sakshi. These two verses, I'm sure all of you must have got these by heart by now. Maya tatamidam sarvam jagadavekta murtina mastani sarvabhutani nachaham teshu vastitaha. Fourth verse, world is in me, I am not in the world. These two verses prove I alone am. Brahma Satyam, Jagat, Prapancha is Dvaitam, and it is with Bheda. This Bheda is experienced like the Bheda of the dream world, but it is not factual. Shankaracharya reminds us of the seventh verse one more time. I am not a waker, I am not a dreamer, a sleeper. I am the Turiya Atma, which is Satyam, Shivam, Advaita. Prapancha Upashamam. The world gets resolved in Atma. So now you can understand Prapancha Upashamam, which is the main word which was used right from the beginning. Now we are towards the end of the second chapter. Throughout this chapter, what we are studying is one word, Prapancha Upashama. The world resolves in Atma. Atma alone is. That is what Shankaracharya and Gaudapadacharya are trying to convince us by writing these 38 verses. To prove that the world is mithya, the experiencer I, Turiyam, is Satyam. Sarva Adhara Yasmin Saha. It is the support for Sarva, the entire universe. How do I come to this knowledge? By looking at the word Paranchikani Vyavrunas Swayambhu. Kathopanishad, very important mantra. Examine the world. Inquire about the world. Let your mind inquire. This entire process of Vedanta is inquiry. Thato Brahma Jijnasa, the first sutra of Brahma Sutra. It says, Brahma Jijnasa, inquiry into that Brahman, which is revealed by the Veda. After you have got some qualifications, inquire into that Veda. Inquire into that statement. What is this Brahman? And then you will realize Prapancha Upashamam, and there is Advaita Atma alone exists. This is the revision portion. I will not go into it. We have already studied. Just to say, Karika number 35 to 38, the sadhanas which we need to practice is mentioned here. Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga are the two prime sadhanas. Karma Yoga is a stepping stone to come to Jnana Yoga. But Karma Yoga, it is incomplete by itself. Jnana Yoga is not possible without Karma Yoga. And what happens actually, all the four qualifications, Viveka, Vairakyam, Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti, and Mumukshutvam, gradually our mind gets these qualities, imbibes these qualities when we have a lifestyle of Karma Yoga. So Atma is the only projector, sustainer, resolver, experiencer of this Jagat Prapancha. This statement is very, very important. I alone project the dream world. A waker will say, now you have to learn to say, I, the Turiya Atma, alone project the waker's world, sustain the waker's world, resolve the waker's world in me, the Turiya Atma. And who is experiencing? Normally we say it is a jiva. This jiva is experiencing this world. But experiencer is this consciousness, one consciousness, but through different upadhis of the mind and body, it is experiencing the universe. Experiencing what? Mithya universe. Don't forget that. Creation is, when we study creation, Upanishad does the adhyaropa. Creation is real. So all of us are glued to that creation. Panchabhutas, gross elements, subtle elements, karmendriyas, jnanendriyas. But ultimately, what do we say? All this is a creation, no doubt, but it is to come to this ultimately Advaitic knowledge. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya dhyatma chetasa nirashir nirmamo bhutva yuddhasva vigatachvaraha. This is the third chapter, 30th verse. See, again, see how beautifully we can connect Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads with all these commentaries. It makes our study more interesting. We need to have emotional qualifications, intellectual qualifications. Vedanta involves a lot of thinking. That is why you develop your mind. Anybody who studies Vedanta, he will be able to solve his personal problems much, much better. You can try it out yourself. I'm sure you will know. All those people who have been studying for so many years, you will understand that my capacity to solve my own personal problems is very, very good. I can independently think of those problems because my mind is developed. My emotional quotient becomes higher. I can handle my emotions. Vita, Raga, Bhaya, Krodha, these are all emotions of the mind. They are all vrittis. It is easy to control the vrittis when you know you are Sakshi. When you know I am Turiya Atma, these emotions will come, these emotions will go away. Why should I be so much bothered about these emotions? A jnani will know this, a jnani will fall into the emotional trap. In a football match, it is not important how much percent of the time you have held the ball. 70% one team A is holding the ball. Another team B is holding the ball only 30%. It scores the goal. Similarly, in Vedanta, doesn't matter how many Upanishads you have studied. If you have studied one Upanishad, Mandukya Upanishad, and you have got the knowledge, you have scored the goal of moksha. Ham Satyam, Jagan Vidya. If it is clear to you, that's all. The Veda has done the job, it has benefited you if you know how to open up the mantras, like how Gaudapadacharya has opened up the seventh mantra for us. Jagat Karanam is not Parama Anu. Parama Anu is what is Nayayikas. They say that the world is born from atoms. But atoms are achetanam. By themselves, they cannot be the truth. There has to be an Atma. Advaitin alone says, Chetanam Brahma is the Jagat Karanam. Turiyam Brahma is Jagat Karanam. Suppose you say that, see, Sankhya, Yoga, there are many theories which says there are many, many Atmas. Those theories of where Tarka is Pradhanam, logic is Pradhanam, primary, they all make a mistake and say the world is Dvaitam. Dvaitam is the truth of the universe. Sankhya, Yoga, Nyaya, Vaiseshika, Purva Mimasa, all of them they say Dvaitam is Satyam, Advaitam. Advaitin alone says Advaitam is Satyam and Jagat is Mithya. So that is the 35th verse, Karika. Now, we'll just introduce this. I've got another 10 minutes. We'll introduce the next Karika, the 36th Karika. Let's just listen to the Karika.
तस्मादेवं विदित्वैनं तस्मादेवं विदित्वैनम् अद्वैते योजयेत् स्मृतिम् अद्वैते योजयेत् स्मृतिम् अद्वैतं समनुप्राप्य अद्वैतं समनुप्राप्य जडवल्लोकमाचरेत् जडवल्लोकमाचरेत्.
Gaudapadacharya is coming towards the end of the second chapter. 3 more verses are there. Here he is trying to tell us, suppose you have been able to get this knowledge, how do you know Again, he gives us some clues. He says, don't identify your mind which is there as you. Mind is only a temporary mithya vastu. It appears, emotions are temporary. Always identify with the Atma, which is the Adhishtanam for the mithya mind. After that, he says you move around. Like I always say, knowing Atma, then you go around in the world. It doesn't make any difference to you because you are a free person. Freedom from this mind, which is the cause of problems for all of us, you can achieve it through this Vedanta. Prapancha Upashamam. Don't forget that one word. Again and again, what does it involve? I'm free from fear. I'm free from insecurity because I have that knowledge of Turiya. We have to pursue three sadhanas: Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasa. The first sadhanam is Shravanam number 1, which is Gita, Upanishad, Panchadasi, chapter 7, Aham Brahmasmi Jnanam is gain. Then the second Shravanam is when you go to Brahma Sutra. Because sometimes what happens is our mind has got interpretation of the Upanishads, but it is not correct 100%. Like I told you just now, Thato Brahma Jnasa, first sutra of Brahma Sutra. Inquire into the Brahman. By inquiring into Brahman, you will be able to understand your own nature. Then after, when you do Brahma Sutra, that is called as Shravanam number 2. Because you're going to revise all what you have learned in. We have one talk in the website which talks about Brahma Sutras. One talk which introduces what is Brahma Sutra. For those people who are interested, you can go through that through that video, or you write to me. I will send you the video. So Mananam is a second process. Logical doubts are cleared. Whenever we study these Karikas, it is Mananam. It is Mananam portion. My mind is dwelling again and again on Atma. And the last one is the final step in Advaita Vedanta. It is called as Nididhyasanam. I do change my own mental thinking. I can defend Advaita with reference to all types of philosophers. Viparita Bhavana Nivritti is the final obstacle. Viparita Bhavana. In spite of my knowledge, spiritual knowledge gathered in the Shravanam and Mananam, my mind still holds that notion. I am the body, I am the mind. For those people, Nididhyasanam is the sadhana. In Nididhyasanam, what do you do actually? Panchadasi says, Vidyaranya Swami, in Panchadasi, he says, Nididhyasanam is a process in which you tell yourself, Aham Brahmasmi. Keep on repeating the word, Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi. One day I will know what it is, but this is the truth. I trust the Veda, and if it says that I am, this is what I am, I will trust, and I will at least start going in the direction of claiming that Brahman. The three main obstacles are Pramana Asambhava, Prameya Asambhavana, and Pramata Asambhava. Pramata Asambhavana means I am the Pramata. I have certain obstacles. I don't have sadhana chatushtaya. I don't have vairagyam. I don't have viveka. These are all pramata. Prameya sambhavana means I'm so sure that Veda can reveal that highest truth. So Prameya is Brahman. Brahman cannot be the highest truth. It is the Jagat Karanam. How is it possible? If you don't, if you have doubts about Brahman, it is called Prameya Sambhavana, obstacles. Pramana Sambhavana means the instrument of Shastra which you are using, you have doubts of. Now, all these are explained just to say what are the sadhanas which we must do, what are the obstacles which are coming in our way, what are the four dushta chatushtayam, fourfold habits for all the seekers, which are the problems why we don't understand Veda. Number one, Ahamkara is very strong. I take the body, mind, and sense organs as my real self. Dehatma Abhiman. Then Mamakara. All my relations and all my possessions are there. How can I drop it? Veda says only drop it intellectually. Physically, you can hold as many anatmas as you want. Raga and Dvesha, these are the Ahamkara, Mamakara, Raga. Raga means attachment to what I possess. And Dvesha means aversion. So, Ahamkara, Raga, Dvesha is centered on Aham and Mama. Outside Aham and Mama, you are always Jivan. Suppose you don't have this, I'm just giving a supposition. In your mind, assume that you never have this feeling of I or mine. Automatically, you will not have Raga and Dvesha. And if these four are not there, you are Jivan Mukta. These are all the ways. You see, in this section I told you is sadhanas of how to get to this knowledge. So, aim of the Shruti is to direct us to the Brahmakara Vritti. Brahmakara Vritti means what? Aham Brahma Asmi Iti Jnanam. Bhagavad Gita says, Karmanne he is samsiddhim astithas janakarayaha loka sangramamevapi sapashyan kartum arhasi. Third chapter, 20th verse. Unless and until a person is ready, then only you teach the person. That's what Bhagavad Gita says. The buddhi vedam janaye. Don't confuse people. Behave in the world like a ajnani, but mentally you understand I am a jnana. Mentally you remain in the Atma Anatma format. Behaviorally, in the world you move about like any other ordinary person. So namaskaram to Guru in the temples. Do Panchamaha Yajna. Do all this. That is what is mentioned in this particular 36th Karika. I have given you the gist. Next week, we will start the Bhashyam portion for this 36th mantra, which is topic number 393. And so this is, next week we'll start with this slide. It is the Bhashyam. I've given you the gist already. The 36th mantra is talking about Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasnam, obstacles to be removed from my Pramana Sambhavana, Prameya Sambhavana, Pramata Sambhavana, Sadhana, the Dosha Chatushtayam, which is Hamkara, Mamakara. See, these are all steps. Shankaracharya is beautiful in explaining all these steps. We will see next week in this following Bhashyam of the 36th mantra. Okay. Now let us go. I'm sure all of you are able to go very, very deep in your understanding of Vedanta with all these beautiful Bhashyams. It's a very unique study. Very, very unique. Bhashyam study is a very unique study. It takes you into the depth of Vedanta, makes you realize what Vedanta wants you to ultimately realize. Oh, Namadam Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachare Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevasishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. I don't see anything on the chat box. In case you have any question, you're free to ask. You can unmute yourself and you can ask any questions you have. Anybody has a question?
Hi, Shakaji, it's Bharat here.
Yeah, Bharat, go ahead.
I had a question. It's related to yesterday's Prashna Upanishad and
Yeah.
today's lecture as well about Vritti Jnanam and Swarupa Jnanam.
Yes.
I just wanted to check with you that initially these are just words which point to something, and from the words we gain meaning. But at first we don't understand the meaning, and then eventually we do. It's whether you understand the meaning or you don't understand the meaning. The Shruti is trying to point out that you are that consistent Atma, Brahman. So when it comes to Vritti Jnanam and Swarupa Jnanam, it is always that Swarupa Jnanam, even when you are when you are trying to understand Vritti Jnanam, it's because of that Swarupa Jnanam it is there. And even to say I understand Swarupa Jnanam, it's that which is understanding it, which is what's being pointed out. Is that understanding correct?
Oh, yes, of course. You got a perfect understanding. See, the what we have to ultimately say is all vritti jnanam is mithya
Yes.
and swarupa jnanam is satya. I, as Turiya Atma, am Satyam, and that is Swarupa Jnana. Waker, dreamer, sleeper is Vritti Jnanam, it is Mithya. Mithya cannot exist independently without the Sarupa Jnana Turiya Atma.
Then this means
ultimately what always is the Swarupa Jnana. I am,
yeah.
I am, I am. Even in the sleep state, I am continues. But the Vritti Jnanams, they go away. So our mind should always remember, I am, I am, I am, even in my sleep state, that is my real Swarupam. Whatever I am perceiving through my sense organs and the mind, it is Vritti Jnanam. Whenever I'm a waker, it is always Vritti Jnanam which overwhelms the Swarupa Jnanam. Swarupa Jnanam and Vritti Jnanam are always together. But what happens in the waking state is, in the waking state, the Vritti Jnanam overtakes, or overwhelms the Swarupa Jnanam. In the sleep state, Vritti Jnanam is subdued. What really remains is the Swarupa Jnana. That is why the Upanishads keep on telling us, in your sleep state, you are in your real Swarupa. So what happens is our mind starts understanding Vritti Jnanam, Swarupa Jnanam. Vritti Jnanam, Swarupa Jnanam. I'm able to look at both. My mind is trying to understand both, but always what makes me understand the difference between Vritti Jnanam and no Vritti Jnanam is the spiritual light, which is called as
Yes.
Turiya.
Thank you for that. That's really clear. I just wanted to ask you about one more thing, which is the statement by Shankara, Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya Jiva Brahma Napra. If we follow the sequence of these words, we're told Brahman is Satyam, then we're told Jagat is Mithya, then we're given a statement by about Jiva. But if we look at those three statements in succession, bearing them in mind, then Jiva is Mithya, but then Brahman is Satyam, Jagat is Mithya, but then Brahman is Satyam, then that Mithyatva of Jagat, it's just simply it's that Satyam Brahman appearing in that way. It's you yourself appearing in that way. So i- otherwise there's this almost like um how can I say, a pushback against the universe, against the world of forms, to say, no, 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 it's Mithya, let it go, let it go. That's
Correct.
that's not correct. That's not correct. That's Brahman appearing in that way.
Exactly. You've got a perfect understanding, Bharat. I'm very happy you're bringing out this point. The world which we experience is Dvaitam,
Yep,
but this Dvaitam has no independent existence. Brahman itself is appearing as this waker, dreamer, sleeper, and the universes. That is the ultimate teaching of Vedanta. Appearance of the world is nothing but it is Brahman itself. In Aitareya Upanishad, and there is Shankaracharya quotes a very beautiful mantra from um another Rig Upanishad called Kaushitaki Upanishad. I'm just giving you a small listing. There he says, Prana is Brahman, mind is Brahman, sense organs are Brahman. Therefore, Brahman alone exists.
it can only be that way. You can't interpret the Upanishads any other way than only
That's
Brahman is.
yes.
Not, otherwise, it
Ultimately,
doesn't make sense. You should just still keep seeking and trying to understand the Bhashyam and trying
yes.
to do Nididhyasana. There's no other way but to say it's Brahman.
It's your body is Brahman, your mind
Yeah.
is Brahman, prana is Brahman, everything is Brahman. Brahma Satyam means that alone exists.
Exactly.
If
Thank
you
you.
are
Thank you.
if you are able to pick up the first part of the three sentences, you don't need the second and the third.
You don't need the second and third. Correct. Thank you. Thank you, Shakaji.
Thank you, Bharat. You're an extremely deep thinker. Thank you. You have brought up a beautiful discussion in this forum. Yeah, Shanta, go ahead.
Namaste, Shekharji. Yeah, in fact, as you were talking to Bharatji, I just was thinking the other day when you talked about this pot and the space in the pot and the space is one itself. And that is what sort of my understanding was, that Brahman alone exists and everything is within Brahman. So there is nothing called different,
There's nothing
so
called
everything
word.
is Brahman. Yeah,
Yes,
because that is what you reiterated today when, I mean, as you were responding to Bharatji, and I just felt, oh yeah, it is just hitting me back and back, and
that's correct.
hopefully it'll
Yes,
remain. Okay,
yes.
so my question today, in fact, I mean, you might have covered it a few times, but I was trying to make notes and I missed it. Um, Regarding this Karma Yoga and Yoga, we said obviously Karma Yoga is important to achieve Jnana Yoga. Now, there are some people who actually don't go through the Karma Yoga and they just get to Jnana Yoga. And I mean, they don't live a samsara life, or, the grahastha life, shall I say. So without grahastha life, I believe you cannot go through the Karma Yoga. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then you go to the Jnana Yoga. But we can believe that maybe they've done it in the previous birth. But what are those 4 steps you mentioned you have to do in Karma Yoga to get to Jnana Yoga? Which I just missed. I think Mukshvatam was one, Vairagyam was one of them, and I missed the other 2.
Yeah,
If you could
Viveka
just...
Vairagyam, Sadhana Chatushta Sampatti, which is the portion of Shraddha, which we learn in Tattvabodha right now. And the last is Moksha. These are the 4 basic fundamental pillars on which a student gets ready to receive the knowledge.
So the first one, sorry. Yeah.
The first one is Viveka. Second
Viveka,
one is Vairagyam.
Vairagyam, yeah. That's
The
right.
third
Then,
one is
Sadhanam Chatushtam.
Sadhana Chatushta Sampatti, which includes Shraddha, which includes Titiksha, which includes Shama, it includes Dhamma, sense control, mind control, faith in the scriptures. These are all the other sub qualities, which are slowly we have to, these are all the sadhanas, these are all the things which we have to slowly gather in our own self. See, as you study Upanishads, slowly you will understand that my Viveka Shakti is picking up now. My Vairagyam is still a question mark. I'm still attached to a lot of things in the world. So, what Shankaracharya repeats at the end of the Bashyam in any Upanishad, Shankaracharya brings these sadhanas again and again to repeat. Because as students of Vedanta, many of us, we are still not ready to receive this knowledge because we have a deha abhimana, that Anubandha Chatushtan, which I talked about, which is ahamkara, mamakara, raga, and dvesha. So ahamkara, mamakara, raga, and dvesha keep us glued into the word. We don't even find time to come and revise my last week's notes. We don't have time. We are running. See, again, this is all. Ultimately, it is all the prakriti. We can't blame ourselves for it. What you have to understand is this is the nature of the world. Prakriti is 3 gunas. Rajoguna pushes me into the world. Sattva guna helps me to attend the class. Tamo guna makes me sleep. So this is as you understand Vedanta, your understanding of Prakriti becomes much, much more clearer. And the gunas in you. Nobody can get away from the gunas. So don't worry. You just keep listening to more and more about this Atma. All these 4 qualities, Viveka, Vairagyam, Shamadha, Satka, Sampatti, and Mokshotvam, automatically it will come to you. The person who attends the classes, slowly he will get all the qualities which is required, which is mentioned in Tattvabodha. Even if you have not got those qualities when you started, suddenly you will realize, I'm able to understand the scriptures very well. Like Bharat is today talking about a very, very deep aspect of Vedanta. And he has understood. So similarly, all of us will keep on listening. We will one day find that we are able to clearly also understand. And see, this process of learning Advaita Vedanta is transformational. It is a silent transformation because it is connected with our intellect. Our intellect has got the notion, I am born, I am 50 years old, 60 years old. These are all only notions in the mind. How to get rid of these notions? It is only through the light of Bharat is saying right now is all that really matters. Right now means what? Right now I am free.
Mhm.
And if you can tell yourself, at this moment, I am free from everything because I have the confidence that I have understood this knowledge of the scriptures. It is only the scriptural knowledge which gives me the strength to hold on to the higher self, nothing else.
Mhm.
Again and again, listening to Atma and Prapancha Upashamam, very beautiful chapter of the second chapter of Mandukya. 38 verses are talking about how I can understand Advaita principle, how I can resolve the universe. This Mithya was the subject matter in the second chapter of Mandukya. And so beautifully, this Karikas have been written, Shankaracharya has commented. For many of us, we may have to go through these in our own way. When you go through these notes in your own free time, maybe after 2 years, maybe after 3 years, after 5 years, you will find tremendous joy because you would have grown by that time.
So, would it be right to say at this point, although I'm, on the path of or listening to this or thinking about it and trying to, make my own understanding about the Upanishads and, clarifying it with all this Shravanam, I would still consider myself, I'm on the Karma Yoga path. Is that right? Because I've
No,
not
you
yet.
are not in the Karma Yoga path at all. You are in the Jnana Yoga.
So if
Karma,
I'm on the Jnana Yoga path, now my
yeah,
question is, I have understood, I have heard in every Upanishad, and I fully agree and accept with all the Shankaracharya's, explanations that this whole world is mithya, although it has not yet, clicked, I would say, to me. But the 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 what should I say? The urge, say, to do my prayers, to go to a temple, or it's very strange that I'm traveling next week to Kumbh Mela, which is I just find, why am I and doing all this, or why am I getting attracted or doing all these things when I
don't worry
fully
about.
understood that I
No,
have this
no, no.
is
You
not.
see, what
So
you
I
should
thought I was in
think.
the Karma Yoga. That's why.
No, 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 no. No. See, what you should say is there is a prarabdha karma which will
Mm,
push you into activity into this waking universe.
okay.
There is a prarabdha karma of the body and the mind. It will go through.
Mm,
I have got nothing to do with this karma which is being done by the body.
okay.
It is a law of Ishvara which will make things happen and it will give me the experiences. Me here means the ahamkara is going through this experience. It is not Atma.
Mm,
Atma is always akarta bhog. With that
okay.
knowledge, go through the motion of life.
Okay.
See, for
And the
example,
last.
all of us are in different fields of work.
Mm,
Somebody may be a professor, somebody may be a doctor, somebody is a lawyer. Go ahead. That is the. Don't try to analyze the vyavahara too much. You just say, I will go with the flow. Whatever has happening to the body, it is as per the law of Ishvara. I will go through the motion, whether I go to Kumbh Mela, whether I go to Kashi, whether I go to the Himalayas for a week, 2 weeks. Yeah.
mm, it's a part of flow.
All the time,
Okay.
keep in mind, I am the Atma, I am the Atma, I am the pure
Mm,
consciousness, which is always there, along with Ahamkara. Ahamkara is making the body act. I am ever the experiencer, not the experienced
experienced.
Ahamkara or the mind, the body.
Mm.
Go
So,
through the motion.
yeah. So now my question, the reason why I was confused that I would be still in the Karma Yoga was one of this thing. And now coming to comparing yesterday's session, where what caught my, my notes is the whole universe is due to vritti. right? It is
Yes.
Ishvara Vritti, which makes the whole universe, and it is my Vritti, which makes my little world or my
Yeah.
dream
Yeah.
world, whatever it is. So in English, we say thoughts become things. And many a times people, start telling you that if you think a particular thing, you will get it, or, it'll appear, or whatever it is. It's like you
Yeah.
go on thinking on one thing, then it's going to surface. So would that be then how do I mean, although I know in from Upanishad, nothing can change because it's my prarabdha which will force me or get me to what I have to get. So how can is this not uh, a contradiction, because you can't really achieve anything by thoughts as people start thinking, because if it's not in your prarabdha, you're not going to get it, as I understand from my Upanishad study.
Yeah.
So thoughts become things, and people start telling you to focus on it, as all these achieving people, and say, how would you, I mean, is that correct, what I'm thinking, that cannot be possible because my prarabdha will be the one which will take over my life?
There are two levels of understanding Vedanta. One is at the level of Vyavahara, and the
Mm,
second is at the level of Atma.
mm,
At the level of Vyavahara,
mm,
whatever you whatever is happening to you, you take it as prarabdha karma. It is
mm,
decided by Ishvara, whatever it may be. Whether you come to the class because of prarabdha, whether you are not coming to the class also because of prarabdha,
mm,
at the Vyavaharika level. But don't mix this with the Paramarthika level. Paramarthika level is the Atma level. At Atma level, I am always free.
mm.
I am not connected with the body or mind. They are in me. I am not in them.
Them. Okay, the 9.4 Bhagavad
Correct.
Gita. Okay,
4 and 5, 9.
4 and 5, yeah.
Hold on to that whenever you have doubts about
Mhm.
your Vyavahara stage.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. Dhanyavad.
Good. Yeah, Bharat, you wanted to say something to Shanta?
Yes, Shantaben, first of all, I'm deeply envious that you're going to Kumbh Mela. I hope you have a great time.
Thank you.
Secondly, I just wanted to say something about it's just a personal remark about myself. I used to find for ages, for quite a few years, that every morning my mind would be triggered and I could never control it. And but then I one day I decided to remember what time does the mind get triggered and for how long. So I started remembering all of this, and and then one day I thought, why am I even doing this? Who cares? Honestly, who cares? And now it doesn't happen anymore. It's just whatever is happening right now. It honestly doesn't matter. In that moment, it's like the mind starts reacting. It's the ego, and automatically another thought comes up. Oh, this is just here is more of the same happening again. Instantly, it just goes. You just carry on
Would
with
you,
whatever you have to
yeah,
do.
sorry, Paraji, would you note down what time your mind triggers in the morning?
Just mentally, I would remember. So I would
Okay, I've
remember.
done no, because I was
Have you got a
actually
spreadsheet?
recording.
The Shanta
Because
mental index. Okay, it's up 2 points today. Okay.
yeah,
Ex,
no,
ex,
because I was noting down the time
yeah.
as for my breath, and I was even asking my friends to see whether are all the jivas going the right side at the same time and the left side at the same time. And I was trying to do that experiment, but unfortunately, none of my friends were able to note down. They were just couldn't be bothered.
All I'm trying to say is that at some point, um, you'd notice a form of surrendering that here we go again,
Yeah.
and you'll be indifferent to whatever the mind is doing. It
One of
won't
the
matter.
yeah, One of the turning points I felt at one point, I mean, this, I don't know whether it was attracted by me. I was listening to one of these, he was a Shunyavadi, but he was talking about all his experiences. It didn't matter to me. But what I really enjoyed, what he said was, uh, they believe in negating or making it equal or zero, right? So if anybody reacts to you, instead of you reacting, you accept it. And then it become your karmas become zero. And then they talk about this Shunyavadi. But I did not go to that second part. But what I felt is the acceptance, the way it is something is a power. And I am trying to develop. I don't think I've gone anywhere further. But yes, oh, this is also, uh, I don't know whether that is one of the things which we develop over time as a part of this Shravanam, because a lot of things have changed in me as how I look at the world, as you mentioned. And this is
Yeah.
also one of the things which I took it as a very powerful message, that learn to accept the way it is and not try to analyze and not try to give back reactions if you don't
It's not.
like.
May I politely ask
Yeah,
you?
yeah.
Um, you've noticed a lot of change, and you've learned to accept
Mm,
the way it is. It, all these changes are appearing to that constant, to that constant consciousness. You're
mm,
forever. You're already there. It's it's just a crazy notion that we're identifying and trying to accept something or notice that we're changing. If you're able to say this because you are the changeless. If you
mm.
weren't, you wouldn't be able to make these statements.
Yeah, but I feel I still have got a long way to go, Bharatji. I'm not that mature in my thoughts, as I
No,
said. But yeah, I'm on my way. I can see that. But I
yeah.
think Shekharji will, endorse the
Or
years before how I was and now. So
Huge
I
there is.
difference. Huge,
I
huge. Shanta, you have changed tremendously. I
yeah.
mean, I know you so well, and I think it's about 3 to 4 years now. You have been continuously listening and listening and listening. Tremendous
Yeah.
change. I can see that. I can see in your questions what a difference of questions you have now compared to when you came.
Mm,
And
We,
uh,
I,
and
I
I,
wanted to say, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I wanted to add one very important point,
mm,
Shantaben, and for everyone else. We are doubly lucky because
mm,
doubly blessed because one thing we're studying Advaita Vedanta, and
mm,
Advaita is a methodology which is not claiming to point to the truth. It's a methodology. The Upanishads is Upanishads themselves are pointers to the truth. At the end, even Krishna says, to you go to the point where Vedas are no Vedas. So
mm,
there are multiple ways, and Advaita is by far the best methodology. So that's one blessing. But the second blessing is Shakaji. Shakaji's Mandukya Upanishad Bhashyam. I'm very, very lucky that I get to see a sneak preview. You're in for a treat. So
mm.
stick around.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sure, Shanta. One thing, remember, our mind has got patterns of thinking. There is a groove, and it's very, very difficult to come out of that groove of thinking. Very difficult. But the more you get the knowledge of this Sakshi Atma, you will be able to see those patterns.
Mm,
Slowly, you will start seeing the patterns of your thought processes. It,
mm,
it is it is embedded in our mindset. That's what we call it as a mindset. It is a pattern of thinking. And you will find that you're thinking the same again and again, and you're going in the same groove, and you're not able to come out of it, not able to come out of it. Vedanta is the only way
mm,
which teaches you how I can come out of that groove of thoughts. It's not easy. And the
mm,
only way the Veda says is tell yourself, I'm the Sakshi. tell yourself, I'm the Sakshi of the thoughts.
Mm.
Automatically, the grooves of your thinking will slowly change the direction. First is the quality of thoughts, second is the quantity of thoughts, and the third is the direction of thoughts. All the three are very difficult when it comes to at the mental level. But the moment you keep repeating, I am the Sakshi, the experience of the thoughts. See, the other day I told you Drishter Drishta. Drishter Drishta means what? Brahman Upanishad says that Sakshi is a seer of the seer, which means mind is the seer of the world, but Sakshi is the seer.
Mind. Yeah.
Correct. It is a seer of the mind.
Mm.
So this is where you try to become a Sakshi. How do you become a Sakshi? I am a seer of the seer. I am a seer. Mind is a seer, but mind is always in vritti form. And just having this knowledge of our mental structure also helps us tremendously in our growth in spirituality.
Okay.
Good. We are getting into very diverse topics.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. And I think we'll call it a day. We'll carry on next week. Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste. Dhanyavad, Jagatji.
Thank you.
Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you.
Thank you. Namaste. Namaste, Shekharji.
Namaste. Namaste. Thank you very much. Nice to see you.